I've got a beautiful card for you today using our zigzag border in kind of a fun method, and our Maggie die, and I'm going to show you a new flower with the sweetheart flowers too. Just to give you a quick rundown of all the products we'll be using. Here we have the zigzag border out of our new Clean and Simple category. Frames and tags, we have the Maggie die. The Beaded Swirl Flourish out of our Finishing Touches range. Here are the Sweetheart Flowers out of our Finishing Touches. And we will be using the sentiment from the Friend Sentiment set in A5 stamp set. And putting a little texture onto our card with the Bed of Roses embossing folder. Right, so I'm going to start with the embossing. So we'll do that first. Bring in our folder. And I've got a piece of white card. I'll tell you what, I'll do a quick measure for you. It is 6 3/4 by 6 inches. Okay, and we'll pop that into our folder. Raspberry plate. Put it into the platinum machine. There we go. And let me get a pokey tool here just to give it a quick peel off of there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this into place on my backing. I've done a little bit of piercing, used some kind of a dusty rose color and black and white here. Pop that into place right inside of the piercing. Okay, and we're going to work our way up from here. Now, the zigzag border. This is kind of a fun new border, and I've really enjoyed working with this. There's a bunch of different things you can do with it. So let me cut one, and we'll show you. Tape that all into place there. Okay. Let's check it. That looks like it's cut well. Peel off our tape. Now I don't want to take this out of the die yet. For this particular border, I've found that it's kind of a little bit easier if you keep it intact as you take it out. Because the zigzags are very, very, very thin, they can move around a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of removable tape here. Take my pokey tool and just very gently, and it does take a little bit of finessing here. I want to be sure to get these started so they stay together. Let me see if I can just lift under those. There we go. I think I've got it. Pull it out as one piece, okay? So from there, what I can do is peel away the fall away pieces. You'll just have to excuse me a little bit as I lean into this. You can use these for other things too. They're quite cute to use across cards and whatnot, just as a nice little accent. And just get every other one of these. Okay, so now it just sort of keeps it nice in shape. I haven't pulled it out of the die and made it go a little bit wider than it might. All right, so the next thing I want to just gently remove my tape. Okay, keep that for use for later. I'm going to use a little bit of spray glue on the back of this. Get both sides. There we go. Okay, so I've done one in the pink and I've got one in the black. So I want to turn them opposite directions and just crisscross them so that the points will line up in between. Oh, get off my finger. There we go. Points will line up in between where the points are on this one. So you get a really, really pretty different look to that. Now what I've done to kind of accentuate it is I've added a piece of white card and 2 tiny little strips of black. And that's how I've created that border, okay? So we'll go ahead and I think I'll just glue this into place onto our backing. Okay. Pop that over here on this side of the card, and I'm just going to try and line that up with my embossed edge there. So we can kind of build up from there. I think that's really pretty. It really pops out against that white background too. The next thing I've done is I've cut the Maggie die in white. I've backed it with the black, and then I put them together and cut the center out to make a frame. Some mounting foam on the back, so we're going to go ahead and seat that over our sentiment. And there again, I've got quite a bit of mounting foam to make sure there's no saggy bits. All right, center that right over that nicely. There we go, and we will trim away the little edges that stick out. I find it's easiest to do it this way. And probably use a little more glue on the back of this as well. Okay, seat that right over to the side, and we're going to embellish that with a few flowers and some of the beaded swirls too. Now, I'm going to just show you how we make the flower, and then we'll finish the embellishment. On the Sweetheart flower, if you cut 3 of the same size die with the solid piece, what we're going to do is on one of them, you're just going to cut a slit down to the center. On the next one, we're going to cut out an entire heart and keep that. Okay, and on the last one, we're going to cut out 2 hearts. Okay, so we're going to need all of these pieces. And I use a little paintbrush for this too. So what you want to do is put a little bit of fold in between each of those hearts. Bring your glue in, and on one of them next to your fold, you're going to bring that over. Just glue that behind. Just hold it for a second. Okay, and I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do all our gluing, then we'll go back and do a little bit of forming. So on the next one, same thing. Just make sure you've got a little fold in them. Pop that behind the heart. Give that a second to hold up. And you can even do a little folding while you're holding it there. Okay, bend each one of those. And we'll do this one as well. A little bit of folding. Put some glue on that. Pop that behind. And this one you're going to have a little bit of a tighter fold, so we're going to pop some fold right into the center of those hearts too. Okay, so next, go back to the original one, and you want to use the end of a paintbrush and do just a little bit of a curl to those flowers. That'll get them started. There we go. And I'm going to pinch them and roll them a little further. Just pinch the tip of that and roll it. Gives you a little bit, tiny bit more edge to it. Now on this first one, what I'm going to do is let's use the back of a pokey tool, and I'm just going to dent that a tiny bit. There we go. Flattens it out ever so little bit to give you a reservoir there for your glue. So put a bit of dry clear glue in that and just set it off to kind of set up. Go back and we'll do some more forming with the next one. Same thing, you want to pinch those and roll them. There you go. Now with this one, you want to bring your scissors in, get that pinched, and sniff off the bottom of that. Just about almost half of it. We'll seat that right inside of the other one. There we go. Let me get that in there. Oops, got a little glue on it. That won't show. Okay, go back to my paintbrush. Roll those. There you go. A little bit more. Cut the back of that off. And we will seat that down inside of there. Get it right down. In fact, I'm going to take just a tiny bit more off the back of that one so it sits down a little bit lower. we go. Pop that into place. And now these two, we're going to just do a little bit of forming around the paintbrush, kind of roll them a tiny bit. And you're going to bring your glue back in on the side and work that right on the outside of that to make a little bit of a cone. Hold that. Cut the back of that one off as well. And pinch the ends of that just a little bit rounded. Sit that down in the center, and you'll probably will want to add a tiny bit more glue in there. And take this last little guy and roll it around your paintbrush too. Curl it a little bit more into kind of a wide tube, I think. It's the best way to describe it. And trim off the back of that. And that will sit right down in the center here. Get that going. There you go. So you've got a nice little flower. Now once that glue dries, you won't see that at all. Okay. And you can do that with both all three of the sizes. So I've got a larger one here and the next size down. So we're going to seat that with some glue dots. And I'm going to use the one I've already got that's all nice and dry. Put the large one on. Do the smaller one next to it. Get that off of there. There we go. And go back to our beaded swirl here. And I'm going to take a little bit off of this one for the top corner. Pop that under the edge of the Maggie die so it's coming away. And I've got, got this one here. We're going to kind of swirl it around to the other side. Pop that just like that. And I think I'm going to make a shorter one and put it on top, just to give a little bit more of a flourish here. Seat that right about like that. And once that's dry, you can do a little bit of forming with it too. Just raise it up. You can add some little pearls to the beaded area. It's quite pretty like that. There you go. How pretty does that zigzag border look against that card? I think that is absolutely gorgeous. So it's just one way you can use the Sweetheart die. I've got quite a few other videos showing you different ways that they look absolutely beautiful, and you wouldn't even believe it's the same die. It looks so different every time you use it.